going back to what Jacob was saying, I think what we're losing at the middle school is a sense of community. When you have your students coming from small communities like Sharon and Callahan and before Poland Spring and Falling Spring, you have a sense of community. They feel like they're part, and the parents become engaged in that sense of community. We have to somehow, as a board, bring that sense of community to the middle school, somehow. And I don't know how we can do it. We need to encourage parent involvement, the PTA, PTO, really encourage that type of stuff. And really make the parents feel welcome and make them feel like that is their school. And so I think it's really important that we encourage that as a board.
As we were interviewing through the process, one of the questions we worked a lot on to figure out, how can we get the community back involved, and how, what ideas some other people have coming in. One of the things that I've worked with before is having a weekend community fair where you involve all the different groups in the community involved and surrounded the school, whether you do the high school or the middle school level. Is pretty successful, but we do need to build that sense of community, and that is a team event, getting everybody involved, and so and again, our scores are not where they need to be, but when I look at other divisions that are similar to us in size and in demographics and in with ruralness, other schools are being successful. So we need to find out what they're doing, model that, and then go. So I think it's very important.
And what was our decision? Before I came on the board, we decided not to have an assistant principal or 2 assistant principals at the CNS.
Correct.
What was the reason behind that?
We were overstaffed. It goes by your numbers of that you need in that building.
Do you think that had anything to do with anything that went on this past year? Do you feel like we need another assistant principal?
No.
Okay.
No. If I would add anything to our entire division, would be an instructional coach or 2, or another reading specialist.
Reading specialist, that's
and so we look at our staff, how we can reshape our staff, bar from one to have another to assist that. The reading specialist we brought in last year worked strictly at over in Clifton Middle. We brought her in to be more as a divisional, and so this year she's going to be stepping out with the part-time reading specialist at high school. They're going to be working together with the Title I teachers to work on reading. So we brought in TTAC. We've been working with UVA as well, and so the reading program will be well defined by the time when he starts school. So, but again, the issue isn't so much right now for us reading as it is in writing. And so writing, to me, you can address across the curriculum. And so, our expectation is that whether you're in science or whether you're in whatever class, everybody can write. So.
Typically, across the Commonwealth, when a school is not fully accredited, personally, I would think it would be for math rather than reading and writing. Is that typically the case, that it's more of a math?
No,
deficiency than reading?
best I know it's about 50-50, but I'd have to go. I'm pulling from the top of my head, but I'd have to go. Reading, writing, particularly right now, has been tough across the Commonwealth, and even at the 11th grade level as well.
It seems like we have, at the high school, we have math trouble on our SOLs.
Right.
So at the middle school, we seem to have reading and writing problems. So are we not addressing enough of these reading and writing problems in the elementary school, and then not addressing enough of the math problems in the middle school, and they're trickling down to the next school?
Part of that's right, particularly with the writing and reading. So I think you always look for short-term solutions to fix the immediate, and then you look long-term. Okay, and so what we've been working hard on is the long-term. So we've been addressing the reading and addressing the writing at the elementary schools. That transition into the middle school. It'll take a couple of years to see some of those results. One of the interesting things is teachers coming in today, particularly elementary, have 1 class in reading. All right, that's all. So when I was talking to our reading specialist, she really didn't have a lot of reading classes until she worked on the reading specialist. That's changed a little bit. So the conversation then is to have with our colleges and universities is what are we teaching What are we training our elementary teachers for? The other thing, there's always an expectation that English teachers at the middle and the high school can teach reading. That's not true. They don't have the skills or the background. So at that point, we have to have the staff development to teach them how to teach reading. They're fine with the writing, but not necessarily with the reading. So for example, if you have a 6th grader or a 7th grader who's reading on the 4th grade skills, what kind of program can we set up in the classroom as well as remediate? Hence the Falcon time. Okay, so we identify those kids coming into the beginning of the school year, those need the reading support, and then we provide that reading support. Now, do we have to hire a reading teacher? Maybe so. However, reading teachers are very hard to find. And so when we find one, then we develop that program to work with them and provide them what they need. It really comes down to this point of identifying a student at a time. Okay. The math at the high school is intriguing. Okay. The 8th grade math scores, not Algebra 1 or Geometry at the high school, which are good, are pretty good. So when they hit that algebra, there's a struggle in the algebra. So I will be working with Mr. Ross directly the next couple of weeks on hand scheduling every one of the students, looking at math with my math background to look see where they are, and they develop a class called Power Algebra where students work on their basic skills before the end of the algebra class.
But don't we already have a program like that that's for?
Well, again, what we were doing is we were taking a class, a 100-minute class, and we're expanding it all year. There's very little research out there that shows that because you put a student in the class longer and more time, they're going to benefit from it. So what you do with the Power, say I use as an example Power Algebra classes, you identify the skills that those students need. That's what you focus on in that class to get them ready for algebra. So when they're algebra, they're going to do okay.
So do our students at the middle school view remediation, those who have to go through remediation, do they view that as punishment?
Good question, Mr. Persinger. The conversation we've had is that so say.
Because I see a lot on social media out there, and it's directed mainly towards our middle school, where parents are sitting there saying, and students are sitting there saying that they feel like by going through remediation, they're being punished.
So what you have to do with that, say for example in the fall semester, you either do 6 weeks or 3 weeks. And so you identify those students that need the support. So maybe if you had say 6 sessions, 4 of them are remediation, and then 2 of those sessions that are now enrichment. So they feel part. Because if you do it like you just said, if you are picking them to be there all year round or all semester, they are going to look like that semester. So it's a mixture in there of how you keep that balance.
Thing is, remediation.
And I'm assuming that the dislike for that goes up after they take the SOL, and they're qualified to retake the SOL, and they have to go through remediation one more time. But to me, there again, it's all about making learning fun, and to me that kind of signifies we don't have the right people doing the remediation.
Well,
Because it should be fun. It should not. No student should come out of there and feel like it's a punishment.
Well, one of the conversations during the interview process, again, we spoke about is how to introduce project-based learning, hands-on learning at the middle school as well while we're making the transition to high school. And yes, it should be fun. And good teachers balance the work between getting it done, okay, and then having fun in class. And so your selection of the teacher to do that remediation is very important. And so again, that takes some time, and you find out who does it well. I guess the analogy I used this with Mr. Wright earlier today is if I'm coaching a basketball team and Michael Jordan moves in, okay, am I going to sit Michael on the bench? No. I want to win, okay? Our principals want to win. Our teachers want to win. So they're going to do the best they can to provide those students what they need to be successful. And so, yes, do we have to change some techniques? Yes, and that's part of going through this whole process of reconstitution to make sure that we're making a change in instruction, which we've already started, but moving towards project-based learning, and go from there.
I don't know. My issue is it's not one. We have more than one student who's not being pushed to live up to their fullest potential. True, we're missing accreditation by
About 1%.
One, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Not one student.
We've got more students than that, who are not living up to, not fulfilling and pushing those students to live up to their fullest potential. And that we are obligated. So to me, one of the problems we have, we don't set our goals high enough. The only thing we're setting our goal high enough is just to meet accreditation. Well, if you set your goal to meet accreditation, you're going to probably only meet that like once every 4 or 5 years, and all the other years you're going to be unaccredited. You have to get above the minimum standard.
And again, I'm not sure where you get that perception from, because myself, our administrative team, and our principals set their goals high. I help set their goals, we write their goals with them, and they're shooting for 90% to get that accreditation, pass that accreditation. But you also have to deal with the realistic. If you want the quick change, okay, you can study for the test. Or do you want long-lasting learning where you build the foundation? Mr. Wright said it starts in elementary school, but we make sure we have great reading, writing, and math, basic math, and then you build from there.
And I haven't heard you mention anything about the elementary school. So, Mountain View, are they going to be fully accredited?
I believe so.
They are.
I believe. We're going by our data here. Until I get the state data in, I don't know that for sure. But I based on what the information that Ms. Easton and Ms. Hobbs provided, they look like they're going to be accredited.
Because the way I look at it, I mean, Mountain View hasn't been accredited. CMS has not been accredited. So, you've got Mountain View who feeds into CMS. That makes their job harder. And then you got CMS who feeds into high school. That makes their job harder. So we're making it harder. I mean, like I said, we're all in this together. And if one person fails, it affects everybody. It snowballs all at the line. That makes the high school teachers, have to perform that much better.
And as a high school principal, I understand exactly what you said, because I had to make sure every one of those kids graduated. And so somehow I got them across the finish line, both in algebra, the other areas, plus reading and writing. So I understand exactly.
Because if everybody's pulling their weight and doing what they're supposed to be doing, then we would have more opportunities at the high school to do different things. But everybody's always trying, we have to somehow make up for what we lost somewhere further down the line. And we need everybody pulling their own weight.
And I think we are headed in that direction. The foundation to, when I got here, the school system academically was struggling. So it takes 3 to 5 years to make a change in that foundation. And I feel pretty comfortable that we've made some significant changes with that foundation. And I think we're going to see some positive results.
The thing we got to remember about the middle school, it's not just Mountain View that's feeding into the middle school. You got to add Callahan and Sharon feeding into the middle school also. So there's more than another, 2/3 of your kids coming in from these smaller schools. So,
well, I think Mountain View makes up at least more than half of the student body.
and it may because of the area it serves, but still, there's not just mountain schools. A lot of students feed in that middle school.
I'm just talking about if you have your largest school unaccredited, then that's a big problem.
It is.
Any school unaccredited is a problem, not just the largest.
It goes back to also where you place your resources, okay? And so if you've got, it's like taking 5 plates and keeping them all spinning at the same time. You've got one over here that's doing a good job, you got one over here. We focused a lot on Callahan with Mountain View last year, or my first year in Callahan. Callahan's accredited. This past year we focused a lot of time on Mountain View. I feel pretty good that they're accredited, although I'll wait till I see the results in, okay? Clifton Middle has got the foundation in, and the math at the high school struggling. So we know where we need to do. It's a matter of getting the job done.
Well, see, I don't view it as a shortage of resources. I think we've got the resources to get the job done.
I didn't say shortage. I said we
We've got to devote
focus
those resources. And I mean,
That's
we
what
might
I
have
said.
to take and reallocate resources from somewhere else and put them there.
That's what if I didn't say that, that's what I meant, is that you focus your resources on where your needs are.
Are you going to have all the data for us at the review meeting?
We'll have our data, but it's not.
No, from the schools, school data.
Yeah, we'll have a.
We'll look at that too and see
Yeah, we'll have a full report.
what particular classes or grade levels are having problems, and that needs to be looked at too.
Yeah, the full report will be in June.
While we're on this topic, Mr. Bursinger brought up some things in social media. I've seen some posts talking about opting out And these are, I think there's some staff members that are telling their parents, the parents to have their child opt out of SOL testing. That will hurt our scores. That will be a failing score. We need to really emphasize that we should not encourage that.
We do, but I would encourage you to have a private conversation with me if you know specific staff members, that I can address that with specific staff members.
I've heard it, I haven't seen it.
Okay, all right. Or if you direct me, Ms. Persinger or Ms. Ecker, to any Facebook pages, I can certainly take a look at those. So,
That won't help that teacher
absolutely.
at all.